The not-so-secret romantic comedy formula. This is a formula that's been used for generations by Hollywood in hit romantic comedy after hit romantic comedy, all the way from Bachelor Mother in 1939 with Ginger Rogers and David Niven, all the way up to the present day. You can use this formula for your screenplay, for that great American novel that you're always planning to write, or even for that story that you tell about how you met your significant other. The not-so-romantic comedy formula has been around for a very long time, all the way back in the 1930s. For example, Bachelor Mother and Father Goose in 1964, The Sure Thing in the 1980s, The Cutting Edge in the 1990s, Notting Hill and Pride and Prejudice in the early 2000s, up to the present day with movies like Love Guaranteed. So I'm going to share with you that formula. So what is it? You start with two characters from different worlds. Very common difference is one character is super rich, like David Niven, a spoiled playboy in Bachelor Mother, and the other character is poor, like Ginger Rogers, the out-of-work shop girl in Bachelor Mother in 1939. All sorts of differences work, and they give lots of opportunities for humor as cultures clash, misunderstandings occur, and it greatly increases that challenge. Are they going to get together despite the fact that they have almost nothing in common? Here we have the Prince of Denmark and a farmer's daughter from Wisconsin, a zombie, and a live girl. You get the idea. They are forced to work together. Something happens, and they have to do something together, even though generally they don't like each other, don't have anything in common. In The Sure Thing in the 1980s, the two characters are undergraduates at a college, an Ivy League-like school on the East Coast, and they both need to get to Southern California, so they share a road trip. And this is the road trip from hell. Anything and everything that can go wrong goes wrong. They do not hit it off. This is anything from mild disdain and indifference to absolute hatred. Often the best romantic comedies, they really don't like each other. The Cutting Edge from 1992 has one of the most over-the-top love-hate relationships. The two characters don't get along. Doug is an Olympic hockey player from Minnesota. He's a working-class guy, very down-to-earth. Kate, on the other hand, is a temperamental, extremely wealthy figure skater. Her family's in investment banking. They're from Connecticut. They're totally different, but they end up working together to try to become pairs figure skaters. They don't get along. The two characters spar verbally, sometimes literally, as in The Cutting Edge. That gives a lot of humor that happens in the movie and makes it a comedy. Despite this terrible start, each does something that impresses the other. Here in The Cutting Edge, Kate gets talked into a hockey game with Doug. She knows nothing about hockey. She doesn't do very well. She gets mad, and she loses her temper, which she does a lot, and hits the hockey puck with the hockey stick, flies through the air, and breaks Doug's nose. And that does wonders for the relationship. They unexpectedly fall in love. Here, Mr. Darcy, out of the blue, proposes marriage to Elizabeth Bennet in Pride and Prejudice. She has no idea this is coming, is totally surprised, floored. A problem comes up and they have a fight. This adds to the tension and drama of the story. In Pride and Prejudice, Elizabeth turns Mr. Darcy down flat. She wants nothing to do with him. Usually there's a honeymoon period, then they fight. Pride and Prejudice just jumps right to the fight. The guy, and it is almost always the guy, then realizes after they break up, they're not getting along. He realizes, I really love this woman. He does something even more impressive to win the girl back. And this often involves a very public demonstration of love in front of an audience, like declaring his love. Here, Doug holds up the 1992 Winter Olympics to tell Kate he loves her in The Cutting Edge. And then they get together again, and it's a happy ending. In older movies, they get married. Newer movies usually leave it up to your imagination what happens. Now, there are a number of other elements that are very common in these movies, but not always present. They're kind of more optional. There's often lies. One of the most common lies is that the two characters, even though they can't stand each other, pretend to be in love, to be engaged, or even married. But there's usually some lies and deception in the story. Most often, the lies and deception are exposed and resolved by the end of the story, but not always. In Bachelor Mother, one of the lies is still going at the end of the story. Add an overbearing parent or even two. That helps add to the tension and between the characters and a lot of fireworks. They're almost always quirky friends and family. This is Rhys Ifans in Notting Hill. He is the ultimate quirky roommate. He is completely over the top. He makes the movie. He stole the movie with his performance of this absolutely bizarre roommate. Add a love triangle or two. This is Doug and Kate's fiance, Hale, in The Cutting Edge. Now, you will notice that Kate is not looking at Hale. She's looking straight at Doug. The love triangle adds more tension and conflict. You're wondering, are they going to get together, or are they going to stay with the person they know, or who's going to win the competition? Makes the movie even more exciting. It's very common for one of the themes in the movie to be that the guy, this happens sometimes with the girl, but it's usually the guy, grows up during the movie. Starts out as a selfish, self-centered, adolescent kind of character, even if he's 60 years old, like Cary Grant is here in Father Goose. By the end of the movie, he's got his act together. In Father Goose, Cary Grant starts out as this dishonest, drunken loser that nobody in their right mind would want to marry. But he gets his act together, saves the day by the end of the movie, and, of course, Leslie Caron's character marries Cary Grant. You get the idea. So that is the not-so-secret rom-com formula. Introduce the guy and the girl from the different worlds at the start. They meet. They don't hit it off. They're forced to work together. Each impresses the other. They unexpectedly fall in love. They have a fight. And the guy does something super impressive to win the girl back, and we get a happy ending. And that's it. Add $10 million to make a hit romantic comedy.